The biology of focus, why your mind sabotaged you, and the code to win the mental hack billionaires use to never lose focus. There's a secret that Steve Jobs discovered when he was just 12 years old, that Elon Musk applies religiously every single day, and that 99% of people think is just willpower. But the truth is far more fascinating and scientifically proven than you could ever imagine. As a performance archaeologist, I've spent years studying the mental patterns of history's greatest minds, and I've uncovered something that will completely transform your understanding of productivity. Focus isn't a natural talent or willpower, it's a precise biological system that can be hacked, optimized, and mastered by anyone. Modern neuroscience has revealed that our brains have specific circuits for focus, just like we have circuits for language or movement. When you understand how these circuits work, you can literally reprogram your mind to achieve states of concentration that once seemed impossible. It's like discovering the source code of your own mental operating system. But here's the first secret that changes everything. Peak performance isn't about your ability to say yes to more things, but your surgical ability to say no to what doesn't matter. Every no you pronounce frees up mental energy that can be redirected toward what actually moves your life forward. Think about Leonardo da Vinci. He wasn't a genius by accident. He developed a meticulous system of observation and analysis that transformed his natural curiosity into revolutionary discoveries. His notebooks reveal a pattern. He always questioned basic assumptions before seeking solutions. He was like a reality hacker, looking for vulnerabilities in what everyone considered absolute truths. The difference between ordinary people and geniuses isn't IQ or natural talent. It's the discipline to constantly question, what am I assuming to be true? And what's the real logic behind this? This simple shift in perspective is the first step to hacking your own focus system. Neuroscientific studies show that when we ask our brain specific questions, we activate different neural networks than when we simply try to concentrate harder. It's the difference between trying to break down a door with brute force versus using the right key. Structured analysis is the key that opens the door to deep focus. Now, here's your first transformational exercise. Take a sheet of paper and choose the most persistent problem in your professional life. Divide the page into 2 columns. What am I assuming to be true? And what's the logic behind this? Spend 15 minutes filling these columns with brutal honesty. You'll be shocked by what you discover about your own mental patterns. This technique isn't abstract theory, it's the exact method great strategists use to solve seemingly impossible problems. When you question your assumptions, you automatically activate what neuroscientists call discovery mode, a brain state where creativity and focus unite in powerful ways. The human brain is the most sophisticated machine in the known universe, but most of us use only a fraction of its real potential. Starting today, you're going to begin accessing deeper layers of your own intelligence. And this is just the beginning of our archaeological journey through the secrets of extraordinary performance. Your mind is capable of extraordinary processing, but it needs the right protocols. Just like a powerful computer running inadequate software shows mediocre performance, an extraordinary brain without proper methodologies produces ordinary results. The hardware is there. You need to upgrade your mental software. The implementation technique is simple but transformational. Choose a current project and apply structured questioning. Ask second-order questions about why the problem exists. Mentally visualize different approaches, and start with an imperfect version you can iterate quickly. This approach will revolutionize not just this project, but how you think about all future challenges. If you already suspect that your brain has far more potential than you imagined, type focus in the comments, and let's continue unraveling the mysteries of the human mind together. How your brain tricks you into failure every single time. At this very moment, there's a silent war happening inside your head. An epic battle between 2 forces that determine whether you'll be mediocre or extraordinary. And the most mind-blowing part? You probably didn't even know this war existed. During my excavations through the secrets of human performance, I discovered that Machiavelli wasn't just a political philosopher, he was an avant-garde neuroscientist. 5 centuries before the first studies on neuroplasticity, he had already mapped with surgical precision the 2 systems that govern our minds: Vert, and fortune. Vert isn't moral virtue, as many mistranslate. It's your neurological capacity to process information, make decisions, and act consistently. It's literally your brain's computational power applied to real-life challenges. Fortune, on the other hand, represents all the external variables constantly bombarding your mental circuits: notifications, other people's opinions, unexpected events, market changes. Machiavelli's revolutionary discovery was simple but transformational. Extraordinary leaders don't try to control fortune. They fortify their vert. It's like the difference between trying to stop a tsunami and building a tsunami-proof bunker. One approach is impossible. The other is invincible. Modern neuroscientists have confirmed this Machiavellian intuition through studies on what they call cognitive load. When we try to control external variables, our brain enters overload mode, consuming precious mental resources that could be used for creativity, problem solving, and strategic decision-making. But here's where it gets really fascinating. Ancient Stoicism discovered the exact technique to win this internal war. Epictetus, a slave who became one of history's most influential philosophers, developed what we now recognize as a primitive form of cognitive behavioral therapy. His discovery: if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's applied neuroscience. When you change your judgment about a situation, you literally restructure your brain's synaptic connections. It's like performing mental surgery without a scalpel, reprogramming your neural circuits to operate more efficiently. The technique I'm about to share is secretly used by billion-dollar CEOs, Olympic athletes, and military strategists. They call it the dichotomy of control, but I prefer to call it precision mental surgery. Here's how it works. Take any situation that's consuming your mental energy and make two lists. In the first, write everything you can directly control. In the second, everything outside your control. Here's the crucial part that separates amateurs from professionals. Everything in the second list must be mentally discarded, not ignored, actively discarded. Your brain has limited processing capacity, and every second spent worrying about uncontrollable variables is energy stolen from problems you can actually solve. Great strategists throughout history intuitively understood this neurological truth. They became invincible not because they never lost, but because they focused exclusively on what they could control: their preparation, their decisions, their reactions. Everything else was just background noise. This mental discipline transforms you into what the ancients called the guardian of your own gate. You consciously decide what enters your mental architecture and what stays outside. It's the most democratic power in the universe, regardless of money, connections, or luck. You can always choose where to direct your attention. The implementation is surgical. Right now, identify the biggest source of stress in your life. Create your two lists. For everything in the can't control column, practice active mental dismissal. Don't fight these thoughts, simply acknowledge them and redirect your energy to the can control column. This isn't positive thinking, it's cognitive resource allocation. Within days of applying this technique, you'll notice a dramatic shift in your mental energy levels. Problems that once seemed overwhelming become manageable. Your decision-making becomes clearer, faster, more confident. You're not avoiding reality, you're optimizing your relationship with it. If you're ready to take complete control of your mental architecture and stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable, type VERT in the comments. Your performance revolution begins with this simple but powerful decision. The addiction killing your IQ. You have it, and don't know there's an addiction that's literally rewiring your brain at this moment, destroying your focus and performance capacity. But it's so subtle that 95% of people don't even realize they're addicted. And the most terrifying part, tech companies invest billions to make this addiction increasingly powerful. During my research on neuroplasticity and performance, I discovered something that completely changed my view of modern productivity. Our brain has a primitive reward system, developed thousands of years ago to help us survive. But modern technologies have hijacked this system, turning it into our greatest vulnerability. What once rewarded us for finding food, shelter, or mates, now rewards us for checking notifications, endless scrolling, and instant gratification. It's as if neurological hackers infected our mental operating system with behavioral malware. Every like, every notification, every scroll activates the same neural circuits that drugs activate, releasing dopamine in an addictive and unsustainable way. But here's the most disturbing insight. This system wasn't hacked by accident. Tech companies employ former casino addiction specialists, behavioral neuroscientists, and psychologists specialized in persuasion to make their products irresistible. They literally study how to create digital dependency. It's psychological warfare against your attention, and most people don't even know they're being attacked. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter of focus and motivation, works in a fascinating way. It's not released when you get the reward, it's released in anticipation of the reward. That's why you feel more pleasure looking at your phone than actually reading the notifications. Your brain is constantly in, maybe this time it'll be something important mode, creating an addictive cycle of compulsive checking. This constant artificial dopamine release has a devastating side effect. It dulls your sensitivity to natural rewards like deep work, exercise, reading, or meaningful conversations. It's like trying to appreciate an apple's flavor after eating candy all day. Your neural palate becomes insensitive to subtler but deeply nourishing pleasures. Neuroscientific studies show that people who spend more than 3 hours daily on social media display brain patterns similar to cocaine addicts. Areas responsible for impulse control become atrophied, while regions associated with compulsive seeking become hyperstimulated. It's literally a physical modification of brain structure. The good news? Neuroplasticity works both ways. If your brain can be rewired for addiction, it can be rewired for performance. The same mechanisms that created the problem can create the solution. But this requires a surgical approach based on science, not willpower. Great performers throughout history had an advantage. They lived in environments with fewer digital distractions. Today, you need to artificially create what they had naturally. This means designing your physical and digital environment to support deep focus, not undermine it. It's applied behavioral architecture. The most powerful technique I've discovered is called dopaminergic fasting. It's not about eliminating technology, it's about resetting your sensitivity to natural dopamine. Once or twice a week, you completely cut artificial stimuli. No social media, no entertainment, no instant gratification. Your brain, initially resistant, begins rediscovering pleasure in simple but deeply rewarding activities. During these fasts, previously boring tasks like reading, exercise, or deep work start seeming interesting again. It's like cleaning your neural palette, restoring your natural ability to focus on long-term goals. Within days, you notice significant changes in your attention quality. The protocol is precise. Choose 2 days per week for dopamine fasting. No social media, no YouTube, no Netflix, no video games, no news consumption. Allow yourself only productive activities: work, exercise, reading, cooking, walking, meaningful conversations. The first few hours feel uncomfortable, that's your brain recalibrating. And by day 3, you'll notice something remarkable. Tasks that previously required enormous willpower start feeling naturally engaging. Your brain remembers how to find satisfaction in effort, progress, and achievement rather than passive consumption. If you suspect your attention has been hijacked by external forces, and you're ready to regain control of your nervous system, type "reset" in the comments. Your neuroplasticity revolution begins with this awareness. The secret ritual that turns average people into geniuses. There's a secret code that Leonardo da Vinci, Nikola Tesla, and Steve Jobs discovered independently, which allowed them to see invisible patterns and create the impossible. And the most extraordinary part, this code isn't the privilege of geniuses, it's mental technology available to anyone willing to master their cognitive architecture. During years of research on extraordinary minds, I discovered that genius isn't genetic luck or divine inspiration. It's the systematic application of specific information processing principles. Great creators don't think differently by chance, they follow precise mental protocols that exponentially amplify their ability to solve complex problems. The first component of this code is what I call second-order thinking. While ordinary people ask, "How do I solve this problem?" geniuses ask, "Why does this problem exist? And what other problems will this problem create?" It's like playing mental chess, always thinking 3 moves ahead, anticipating consequences others can't even imagine. Tesla used a fascinating technique he called his mental laboratory. Before building any physical invention, he would construct it completely in his imagination, test its function, make adjustments, and even detect flaws, all mentally. When he finally built it physically, the invention worked perfectly on the first try. It was virtual reality applied to engineering, decades before the technology existed. This mental simulation capacity isn't magic. It's directed neuroplasticity. When you visualize something in detail, your brain activates the same neural networks it would activate if you were actually experiencing that situation. It's like a flight simulator for your life. You can test strategies, anticipate obstacles, and refine approaches without the costs of physical experimentation. Leonardo da Vinci developed what he considered his most powerful mental tool: systematic questioning. His notebooks reveal structured, not random, curiosity. He asks specific questions about each observation. Why does water flow this way? How do plants grow against gravity? What patterns connect human anatomy and architecture? It was like a discovery algorithm applied to reality. The second component of the code is pattern connection. Extraordinary minds see connections where others see isolated elements. Jobs revolutionized technology by connecting design with functionality, art with engineering. It wasn't luck, it was systematic mental training to identify subtle patterns that escape common perception. Neuroscientists discovered that creativity happens when different neural networks connect in unusual ways. You can train this ability through what I call conceptual gymnastics. Daily, take 2 apparently unrelated concepts and force your brain to find connections. Piano and marketing, biology and business, physics and relationships. Initially difficult, it becomes naturally intuitive with practice. The third component is strategic imperfection. Paradoxically, geniuses don't seek perfection, they seek rapid iteration. They prefer 10 imperfect attempts to 1 perfect attempt. Fail fast, learn fast, adjust fast. It's like accelerated evolution applied to problem solving. Your mind is capable of extraordinary processing, but it needs the right protocols. Just like a powerful computer running inadequate software shows mediocre performance, an extraordinary brain without proper methodologies produces ordinary results. The hardware is there, you need to upgrade your mental software. The implementation technique is simple but transformational. Choose a current project and apply all 3 components. Ask second-order questions, mentally visualize different approaches, connect your project with apparently unrelated areas, and start with an imperfect version. You can iterate rapidly. This approach will revolutionize not just this project, but how you think about all future challenges. Here's your genius protocol. Every morning, spend 10 minutes asking second-order questions about your biggest challenge. Visualize 3 different solution approaches mentally. Find one unexpected connection between your challenge and a completely different field. Then take 1 imperfect action toward the solution. Within weeks, you'll notice your problem-solving capacity expanding exponentially. Challenges that once seemed impossible become interesting puzzles. You're not becoming smarter, you're becoming more systematic in how you apply your intelligence. The greatest secret of all? Genius isn't about having extraordinary thoughts, it's about having ordinary thoughts in extraordinary ways. The code isn't hidden in some mystical realm. It's hiding in plain sight within the systematic application of these 3 principles. If you're ready to access deeper layers of your intelligence and think like history's geniuses thought, type genius in the comments. Your mental architecture upgrade begins now.